As I was telling you, identify successful and less successful organization of class time, and make it easier for you to adjust to contingencies. What if students have to go somewhere? What if you have to go somewhere? How will you manage your class time? For additional feedback on planning, managing class time, you can use the following resources like peer observation, student observation, teacher observation. You can even take your superiors, supervisors, coordinators to the class for lesson observation. You can sometimes even video record your own lessons and view the videos later. So your lesson plan need not be some exhaustive plan, and every possible classroom scenario need not be described in it. Nor does it need to anticipate 40 responses of the 40 students. It should provide with a general outline of what your teaching goals are, what your learning objectives are, and how you plan to accomplish them. It is a reminder of what you want to do, how you want to do. A productive lesson is not one in which everything goes exactly as planned, but it is one in which both the student and the teacher learn from each other. And there are 9 important steps of a good lesson plan. So let's take a quick look. Number 1, gain attention. You start from the top. Gain attention. Inform the learners of the objectives of the learning outcomes. Check on prior learning. Present the content. Provide guidance on learning. Practice makes a man perfect. Provide feedback, assess the performance. What are you going to do to enhance the retention and transfer to the job? And once again, you start with gaining the attention of the learner. Thank you for muting. Now there are these 2 links. I will share the second link in the chat box with you, because that's one link I wish you to see when the hour that I give you for the break. If you see that link, you will be able to follow in making your own lesson plan. So I'm going to stop sharing this screen, and I want to share the first one with you. Just give me a moment. It is open here. I think you're able to see this now.
यहीं के रुकिए ना अभी, आपको कहाँ है हड़बड़ी लग?
So all teaching decisions can be placed in 3 categories. What will I teach? What will the student do to learn and demonstrate that learning is occurred? And what will I do to make it happen? How will I facilitate the acquisition of learning? And Madeline Hunter has 7 steps of a lesson plan. So she starts with review, anticipatory set, objective instruction, input and modeling, check for understanding, check the guided practice and the independent practice, review the previous material that is relevant, anticipate the questions, tell the students what they will learn and how they will be assessed, tell them how you wish to be instructing them. Be a role model, demonstrate the application of concepts and skills. Check the understanding, guided practice. Take a screenshot of this, please. Have learners do the exercises. You do it with them. So you will call out. Suppose in a classroom, you decide to do question 1, 2, and 3 of the textual questions at the back of the lesson. Do it with the students. Monitor and assess and give them the correct answers. Then closure, reinforce the main points, take a summary. And independent practice is when you tell them this is your homework and you will do it from home and come for the next class. So that brought us to Madeline Hunter's 7 steps. And I shall stop sharing this screen as well. We need to move ahead. So before I move ahead, I'm going to take you through the link. Titi ma'am, I'm going to be sharing a link for a video in the chat box. In the break hour, I request you to first show it to the participants who are all sitting there with you in both the schools. And then they will proceed to create the lesson plan based on what I prescribe. So I have shared a YouTube link in the chat box with everyone. In the break hour, so right now you can copy the link somewhere and keep it safe. In the break hour, you will need to view it before you start creating your lesson plan. So I will now be screen sharing. Your lesson plan will have the session title, duration of the session, the name of the teacher, the learner group, the learning outcomes, the learning plan, the method, the assessment, the resources required, evaluation strategies. So this is something you need to take a screenshot of. Everyone needs to take a screenshot of this screen. सबसे पहले आप अपना नाम
Madam, it is not clear. Hello.
जी
It is not clear, not visible. How can I take the screenshot?
Okay, I am talking about it. You may write it down, sir. सबसे पहले ऊपर अपना नाम लिखेंगे. Your name, the date for which you are planning the lesson, the subject which you teach, the grade which you are teaching, the unit which you plan to cover in this particular lesson, the learning objective. Now keep in mind, we have two things here, learning objective and learning outcome. When you write the learning objective, divide that space into 2 parts. Below that, you will write learning outcome, because the learning outcome is something you will be sharing with the class. Then you will make a list of the materials required. So all the teaching aids that you will require. Don't forget the blackboard, laptop, chalk, duster, everything is counted in the teaching aid. Any computer, or any technology tool that you would use is also considered a teaching aid. All of that will go in the materials required. The next thing will be introduction or warm-up. So what will you be doing in your introduction or warm-up to gain the attention of the learners? I hope either you're taking a screenshot of the same, and if it's not clear like someone told me, then I hope you are noting it down. Then you will write about your explicit instruction. What do you plan to do? The methodology. Then you will talk about supported practice. Supported practice is your guided practice. Supported practice is guided practice. Something that you hold hands of the learner and do. What I told you, you discuss the textual questions and give the answers to the students. Individual practice is the independent learning, what you may have given for homework, or what you may tell the learners to do on their own in the classroom. Then you will talk about differentiation. Differentiation is now all learners in the classroom are unique. They are different. And we need to teach to cater to the needs of the different students. So what are we doing? What changes are we modifying in our lesson plan? You can't use the same lesson plan for all 40 students who are different. There may be some brilliant students and some below average students in the same class. So what are you going to do? What differentiation are you going to do in your teaching learning process, which will come here in this point? What assessment strategy are you going to use for this particular unit? Now you're planning a 40-minute lesson. So please plan accordingly. What assessment technique will you use? What and in the notes you will write what inclusive practices have you followed? What inclusive practices have you followed? What reflection have you got? And what remedial technique have you received or plan to do? That will go in your notes. Therefore, I request you once again to take a screenshot of this page. That will help you reach your goal. Also keep a screenshot of Bloom's taxonomy, the verbs that you will be using, because this will tell you how to frame your learning objectives, learning outcomes, assessment strategies. Always remember, for differentiated strategies or for differentiating the lesson plan, we use multiple intelligences. We also take multiple intelligence assessments these days. So keeping that in mind, make use of this as well. And in the current CBSE curriculum, you will always see these steps for the lesson plan, specific learning outcomes, pedagogical strategies, group activities or experiments or hands-on learning, because we now deal with experiential learning, interdisciplinary linkages and infusion of life skills, values, gender sensitivity, etc. in the lesson. So some lesson may go to gender sensitivity, some may be an interdisciplinary linkage, but there will always be a life skill or a value attached to a lesson. What resources are you using, including ICT, so that you're already writing in the materials required? Assessment strategies you will be writing, and feedback and remedial teaching of the plan. So once you reflect, you will automatically have a feedback and remedial strategy. Inclusive practice, I have asked you to write. So keeping that in mind, thank you very much for this current session. I have in the chat box already shared the situation, the link with you. In the chat box, I have shared the link with you, which is going to take you through the video for lesson planning. Before you start framing your lesson plan on the steps I have given you, the blank format which I called out to you, please go through the video. I am sharing the link once again in case you haven't copied it. Please copy the link. View the link before you start. I will meet you back at the end of 1 hour when I will see each of you having created your lesson plans based on the steps I showed you. You remember I told you take a screenshot of this page, and some of you said you couldn't see it, it was not clear, but I dictated the entire thing to you. So you have the blank template. Please take time, this 1 hour, make the most of it, and all the very best. See you at the end of the hour. Thank you. We'll meet you back in the evening. We'll have your presentations in the evening. Thank you. Have a great evening.